A lot of creators saying lately that with the current political and social climate, that we are on the verge of having the biggest woke moment that's ever occurred before. It reminds me, how history repeats itself. And if you look back to the, 1920s and 1930s, where the robber barons, took all of the resources of society and it was concentrated in a very few families. We've been through this before. And what happened is we went through really a long time frame where wealth was redistributed back down to those who were the neediest in a number of different ways: Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, other types of things. That's where a lot of the civil rights organizations came out of, and things like, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those types of things were really started, from that framework of really looking at how we were taking care of each other. But it started from a time period of desperation and hunger, and where all the resources of this beautiful earth were concentrated within the hands of so few people who literally didn't have the time or the mouths or the ability to consume all that they were taking in and hoarding for themselves. There's actually a Bible verse about that, about how, so many things were stored and then the grain began to mold, I believe is how the Bible verse went. So this is an old story. It's not a new story. And I'm wondering who else might be feeling the change and like the climate change, at least within ourselves, because we're kind of like a micro universe or microcosm of what's happening outward. I've called 2026 my year of resonance after 2025 being my year of presence. And for what that means is really getting back to basics. I'm really looking at what I say is important and what I do that reflects what's actually important to me. I'm challenging myself to change behaviors, shopping behaviors, and the way that, I bring things in, and the way that I, perhaps even treat other people and treat myself. I'm really concentrating on this sort of like universal forgiveness for myself and for others, and asking even if there are people out there who hold things against me, for them to let go of that as well, because energetically, anything that's held on from us or from other people involving us really, holds us back energetically. And so I'm asking that not only do I release the things that I'm holding, but that others release the things that they're holding against me. There's an idea that if you're holding a grudge against someone else, to be sure there's someone else is holding a grudge against you. So it's to be mindful that, one of the reasons your kids might be going to, rehab or going to see a counselor is because of you. You're the reason. So to be mindful of that, that not only do you have the experience of other people and how they affect you, but people also have the experience of how you affect them. So I'm really looking at those things. I'm looking at how do I change how I look at things? How do I change what's truly important, not just what I say is important, but what I actually do? It shows that what's ingrained in me as important or necessary, or how am I energetically aligned? And I'm challenging myself to really know that what I intuitively know is correct within me, that I really listen to that I stop going through these patterns of where obviously my spirit, my body, and my soul are telling me one thing and I do something completely different, perhaps out of habit or fear or addiction or whatever it might be, and then find out later on that what I was intuited to know to do or not to do is what I should have listened to go ahead and listen to that advice ahead of time. It's almost like, people say you can't predict the future, but I believe very much that your intuition, once you're in tune with it, absolutely can predict the future. It's just that we don't like to listen to it because it's very inconvenient. And perhaps our intuition is telling us to do something hard, or our intuition is not buying into our addictions, and our addictions are very much something in the moment. this came really to light for me a couple weeks ago. I was at a thrift store because I love to thrift, and I'm really looking at that now about why I have to bring in so many things. And there was this beautiful, gorgeous, ornate bird cage. I mean, it was probably like 7 feet tall. It was huge. It was ginormous. It was very ornate. It was very beautiful. And everybody that passed it stopped and looked and commented on it. And for some reason, I just had to have it. And I kept telling myself, you don't have any place in the house to put it. You don't have a bird. If you were to put a plant in it, you don't even really keep live plants. There's literally nothing that you can do with this thing, and there's no place to put it. And I went home and then I really investigated, why did I have such a pull to buy this thing that I didn't need, had no place to put, and it was just a real example of how I need to really look at what I'm being pulled to do and who is wanting that. And for what purpose? What was the purpose of needing this thing that would have taken money that I could use to pay down a credit card? What was the reason I needed this so bad when I had no use for it and no place to put it? And so, I truly I have always said that I maintain that I live in a world where everything is a gift. Sometimes the wrapping paper smells like crap. And the true work is to find the gift, and sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes maybe you'll never find the gift. But I'm looking at this current situation that we're going through and looking to see what is the gift in this moment. And I really think that it is about creating this point of no return where we really have to decide who we are, what's important to us, what people and what energy we allow in our sphere. I think as mindful people, perhaps as liberal people, we want to embrace everyone, we want to include everyone. But not everybody qualifies for your buffet. Not everybody qualifies for your energy. And I used to think that everybody did and everybody deserved it. I thought that everybody deserved my love and attention. And that means that I am taking a really precious, precious gift that I have available, and I'm just passing it out like it has no value whatsoever. So for me now, it is about people have to qualify before they get that. And because that does take from me, because what used to happen is I would give out everything I had and then have nothing left for myself or those that were really important to me. And I've stopped that. So I'm really looking at what's important, who's important, what is really worth my time to do? And what are my true goals in life? What are the things that I would like to achieve and why? What is at the end of the day, why do I want to achieve that? Abraham Hicks talks about that the reason we want anything is because we want to experience joy. We want to be happy. And the interesting thing is that happiness and joy are things that you can actually have at any moment, and it starts with a choice and or a decision. Because if you think about anything that right now that you wish to attain, wish that you label as success, there was a time in the past where that thing didn't even exist. So that would have meant that success or happiness or joy would have been impossible at that time frame. And yet there were people back then who absolutely inhabited success and joy and happiness. I mean, think about like if you feel like you need the new cell phone, or if you need a new car, a new house, or really anything that you think you might want to attain, especially physically. There was a time frame when that didn't even exist. So how did people embody joy and happiness and success then, if there was absolutely no way for them to achieve this thing that equates to success, because it wasn't even within the mind of human beings of even being possible. So really joy and success and happiness and all those are a state of being, and they start with the decision. That doesn't, that means that it could be work to achieve that. But at the end of the day, like what for me, what is it that I want? And of course, I want to be joyful. I want to be happy. I want to feel settled and safe within my own self. And those are all decisions to make, because I believe it's a Buddhist term that says you're both always safe and unsafe. So it depends upon what it is you wish to focus on. where you want to live from. And for me, living from a place of safety, a place of joyfulness, of joy, place of happiness, and a place of complete and now presence is where my power is. And I decide that I want to be powerful to self empower myself, not so that I can take over or, rule over other people, but so that I can make the decisions, the clear decisions that I believe are true for myself and for those I care and love about. So I'm just wondering who else out there might be along the same frame. I think I'm going to try something on my YouTube page. I think I'm going to open myself back up to comments. Um, the reason I haven't is because I've been very triggered here in the past, and, so I'm going to try that. I'm not gonna take any foolishness. If you have something to say, I invite you to make your own video. Um, if you have something to say that's not helpful, let me put it that way, or if you're just wanting to trigger somebody, if you're just wanting to start an argument, I truly don't have time for you. But I would say love, peace, and release and send you on your way. So anyway, just was wondering who else might be feeling that way about how, perhaps 2026, let's take the mess that's happening right now and let's look at the goo of how everything has absolutely been torn apart and let's decide that that can also give us the opportunity to rebuild our own personal lives, our own personal choices, our own personal mindsets and bodies and spirits in a way that we determine is best for ourselves, understanding that the entire universe really starts from your own perspective. So as you change how you are inside and where you are settled in your own being, that also changes everything else from the outside. So that's where I am right now. And if anybody's been listening, that's great. If nobody's been listening, that's great. It's been amazing to able to actually show back up on camera, which is a new thing for me. It's been a while since I've been able to do that. And until later, love, peace, and release.